This week in math, boys and girls, we're going to be finishing up chapter 12, which is numbers to 120. Okay, you're going to be working with comparing numbers. You're going to be working with finding missing numbers. You're going to be working with estimation and some other fun things. We're going to talk about this. Some of these lessons will be review. Some of them will be new. So hang tight. Get your parents to listen with you so that we can figure this out together. Remember that we are on this salmon color paper this week that says May 11th through the 15th. And we are in the math section down here at the bottom. All right. In lesson 12.5, you are comparing numbers. Okay. The directions are different for each section of this paper. At the top, you're going to circle the greatest number. Remember, greatest means biggest, boys and girls. In this middle section, you are going to be circling the least number. Remember, least means the smallest number. And on this bottom section, you're going to look at the row of numbers and you're going to write the greatest or the biggest number and the least or the smallest number. If you're having trouble with any of these, you can always refer to the hundreds chart that I gave you the very first week, and that will help you out as well. On the back, you are using the hundreds, tens, and ones place to put the number in the right box from the big number above. This should be a review from last week. Okay. In lesson 12.6, we are working on number order and putting numbers in the correct order. The directions for the top and the bottom are going to be different, so listen closely. On the top, you're going to order the numbers from least to greatest, so little to big. On the bottom, you're going to switch it up on you. Okay? You're going to be ordering the numbers from greatest to least. So biggest to little on the bottom. Okay? On the back, you're going to be practicing finding the greatest and least number from the row of numbers. Practicing that. Okay? In lesson 12.7, it's a little riddle time. Excuse me. These riddles are in the boxes, okay? And you're going to be figuring out the number that answers the riddle. Like the first one says, I am before 74, but after 54, what number could I be? Okay, so I am before 74, but after 54. All right. Well, if we think about that, we know that it couldn't be 23 because 23 is not after 54. Let's see. 65 could be a choice. That could be right because it is before 74 and it is after 54. 89 is our other choice. 89 would not be before 74, so we know that that one wouldn't work. If we mark out the ones that wouldn't work, we'll be left with the answer, which would be 65, and you can circle that on your paper. You're going to do all of those on this page that same way. On the bottom, on the back, you have a subtraction practice, and I've written you a little note up here that you can use any of the strategies that we have used before with subtracting. You can draw your railroad track lines. You can draw out the number. You can use your subtraction strategies with your hundreds chart that you already know. So this is just a review. Okay, The next two lessons we're going to focus on, 12.9 and 12.10, are talking about estimation. Now, we have done a little bit with estimation, boys and girls, in our classroom. We've done it some on the calendar board where we shake the jar and we try to guess how many objects are in the jar, and then we count them to see if we're right. We've also done them in math with some fun graphing activities where we have done candy. And we would look at our box. The latest one we did was at Valentine's Day. You had a box of candy hearts. You remember that? And before I ever let you open the box of candy hearts, we would shake it and we kind of looked at how big the box was and we estimated. An estimation is a guess. We guessed how many hearts we thought would be in the box. That's what we're going to be talking about for the next 2 days in lessons 12.9 and 12.10, okay? Now, I know it's going to be hard because this is not sealed up and it's easy to count it. But I want you to try just to estimate, just to guess by looking at the pictures. Now, don't change your estimation. Estimations are never wrong. They're always right. So any number that you write as your best guess is going to be right. It's not wrong. When you count and you do the actual number, that's the number you want to make sure is spot on, 100% right. So let's talk about 12.9 and what you're going to do. Each of these different sets of pictures, you're going to estimate how many there are by just looking at them and making a guess, okay? Now remember, when we make an estimation, we want to use the knowledge that we have. Does this look like a lot of something? Does it look like a little bit of something? If it looks like a lot of something, we want to choose a big number. If it looks like a little bit of something, we want to choose a little number. So we could estimate here the number of triangles. You would write that in the top box, and then you're going to count it for the actual number. Count every one of them and write that on the next box. Now, my suggestion to you, because there are a lot of things to count here, is to take a crayon. I want you to color the triangles one color when you actually count them so that you know you counted each one. I want you to color the circles a different color when you actually count them. Squares and hearts, do that the same way. That way you know you've counted that thing, because sometimes when we just start counting, we lose our place. But if you're coloring it in each time, you'll know you've counted it, okay? On the back of this page, you have another practice page. This one is addition and subtraction. I circled that and I said, be careful, because don't add when you're supposed to be subtracting and subtract when you're supposed to be adding. Check yourself, be careful, make sure you're watching what you're supposed to be doing. You can use any of the strategies we've talked about before, your number line, the railroad track, whatever helps you to get the answer. Okay? Our last lesson for this chapter is 12.10. This kind of looks like the jar that we have on the board, and it has objects in it. Okay? Once again, you're going to estimate and then count the actual. I want you to use your crayons again. When you estimate, just make your very best guess, write your number. When you actually count it, I want you to use your crayon and color in, because a lot of these objects are stacked beside each other or on top of each other so closely that you might mess it up if you're not being careful. Okay? On the back, you also have another addition and subtraction practice page. Be super careful on this one as well. Make sure you check the sign if it's addition or subtraction. I don't want to trick you up. Okay? I hope that you learn a lot this week about estimation, practicing that, and have fun doing your math activities. Bye.